I'm gonna put in a gate right there. 2 columns to build. Stab some metal posts in it and then frame some columns and stone them. Columns, steel tube. Okay, got all those welded on. Not the best weld in the world, but that'll hold those hummers in the concrete so they don't slide around and move and stuff. Need a 20-foot level. Okay, we got this thing all screwed together. This will just keep it nice and square, straight with the string and everything. So they kind of go in with the other post. Rebar down there welded on to hold into the concrete. This board's level so that these would be somewhat square. So everything looks good, ready to pour it. All we gotta do is adjust our height so that when we pour it we don't have to move it around anymore. So the tops of these 2 posts are going to be right flush with the top of the column. Just use some rocks to shim up the bottom of the post so that it ain't sitting in the dirt. We was going to do a spreader across here like we did on our last gate, but there's too much traffic going through here, so we couldn't run a board from that post over to this post to spread them out perfectly even. But they're going to custom do the gates anyway, so it's not a big deal if it's right on the money. Okay, so I made a mark right here on this 2x4 that comes off of the edge of the column. So this is basically the edge of my framing. So I'm getting ready to put these green plates in. I just want to put the screws in them and stab them into the wet concrete so I don't have to pre-drill them later. So I'm just getting the edge of column and I'm pulling a string across here so that it lines up so they're perfectly square with each other. So I'm pulling that string across there, and I just got to have it line up right on there. See, it's barely off, so I got to shift it slightly. And you're cutting the green plate for the bottom of your wood column. We're planning on making it 32 inches wide. So we put our mark at 31 so that we could have room for a 1/2 inch piece of plywood on each side. That way the column doesn't go over 32 and then go past the edge of our caps, because our caps are pre-built, so we don't have any room to grill it past. Just keep that in mind when you're building those. Got the screws in there. And we'll just set it in place right on the string. I took this square and made sure that these were perfectly square with each other, so that when I go to frame this, it's all right on the money. I don't have to sit there and fight with it. So. Okay, we got all our screws in our green plate. This one's just sitting there temporary for a spreader because I got to pull all this stuff off before I can put it on. So that's the base to the column, and then I measured off of this board, which is the front of this post, so it comes back so that I have a 1/2 inch plywood and then stone, and then my cap will cover the top of the column, so that right up here my cap, the stone will be to about right here, and my cap will come all the way over to the edge, so it totally covers up the top so no water goes down in that. Splits it up, rusts it out. Okay, we got these things all perfectly leveled up. We double checked them for the 50th time. They're nice and level. We're going to come back after this cures a little bit and pull that board off, and then put this board over to the edge of here, notch it around the post for the bottom of the column there. Same with this side. Take off all that bracing and then put the green plate down. Got these floated off and edged. We have no power on this job, so we're screwing these things together. It's kind of a time-consuming little project. we had videos of the setting the cap on. We used the track hoe and just put a couple of straps under it. But when my software that I edit my videos with crashed, it deleted the couple of the videos that were under construction, and it ruined them, so I don't have them anymore. So we'll just have to deal with it this way. Turned out okay. Next time I will vibrate it better, so it eliminates these honeycomb, and use a 3mm plastic, barely stiffer. This just didn't quite turn out as good as I wanted it to. The last one we did turned out a lot nicer. We built these caps about 10 years ago, and we used a 3mm plastic on them. They're a little bit smaller caps, and they were easier to vibrate, so they may not have as many pits in them, but they turned out pretty nice. They're 10 years old with 6 feet of snow on them every year. They've lasted pretty dang good. They're still pretty smooth. There's a few little pits in them here and there, but not so bad. But that painter's plastic didn't quite give the texture that I wanted. We built this out of, we used 3mm plastic on this, so you can see the texture lines here. You can see there's little tiny little pits in it here and there, but the texture looks a lot nicer with it like that. I would thought this would have eroded a little more, but it hasn't. With the thicker plastic is a lot better way to go.